All right, so this is yeah, this is acceptable, right? But I also believe that um if I were to just do this and pass in the model here, um it's going to know that okay, it's supposed to use the ID from the model to look for it and then update it with the new data and stuff like that, right? So whichever way you want will work. And then this other way even works more if you want to use a patch, right? So then what you do is something um, like if string is null or empty, then you pass in model dot first name, then okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if it's not null or empty, then I'm going to update it with this guy, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing for all of the rest. Right? So I'm going to say last name, email, phone number, location, right? So what I'm saying is, if someone were to now say, oh, they want to update it with an empty string or something, then it's going to confirm, right? So if it's null or empty, it's going to ignore everything and then update it back with the same user, right? So this is just a way of even making it more secure. But there are other ways to do this, but that's fine. So I'm going to just go to the next points, creating the view, which I already have. But I'm going to get the stuff from here, right? I'm going to get from here. I'm just going to copy this and put it here. But instead of using ads, I'm going to just use edit, then post, this with the first name, blah, blah, blah. And this should work, right? Just going to say edits. All right, so let's try this and see. All right. So I'm going to go to, I would go to the users. There's something I didn't supposed to make this edit. So I'm going to use it that way for now. Why is it not loading the users? Okay. So I'm going to try edit John Doe. So you can see it's already populated it with what is already in the database, right? And that is because the first thing I did was get it from the database, passed it to the view. Then when I passed it to the view, in the view, I just got it here and passed it. So ASP4 just passed the first name into the box, ASP4 passed the last name and everything, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. I would remove this, although it won't allow me to submit because there's front-end validation. Then I'm going to change this to 111. Yeah, it won't let me submit. So I'm just going to change that to KB and then submit. So if I see details now, this is now KB, this is now JD111. So I've successfully edited it, right? But I need to update a few things. This I'm also going to say, I'm going to call it submit and edit user, right? Let me make sure that everything was saying is correct. So I'm going to reload this again. Oh, I didn't run it. Oh shit, I ran the wrong thing. Why? Run. All right. So I'm going to reload the old stuff. I'll go to the users first. Let me add a new user. This is your first. Phone number 00 test, just test@gmail.com. And then I'll add this. Then see details, get this, edit this. So let me edit the first name by calling it Fred. See details, edit the second name by calling it Makinwa. Right, so if I try to edit one, it works. If I try to edit every other thing at once, it would work, right? So this is location. I'm going to call it Taraba. Phone number, I'm going to use 08066554433. Then for email, I'm going to say fredmakinwa@gmail.com. And then when I see details, I've successfully edited everything from the beginning, from what it was at the beginning. So our edit button is working perfectly fine. So finally, the delete button, right? So I would like to give that as a task. Make a research and work on the delete button and make it functional so that once you click on delete, it takes you to a page. Can you hear me? Sorry, my internet went bad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, so I want us to work on the deletes, right? Using the same knowledge that we have so far, right? When you click on delete, it takes you to a page where you see the stuff that you want to delete. Then once you click on delete, it deletes it from the database and returns you to this page, right? So I want us to work on it before next week. That's our task for this. In the meantime, do we have any questions? Do we have any questions?
Yes, I think there's a pending question during the week concerning the use of database approach.
Well done.
Yes, someone asked during the week concerning the use of database first approach.
Yeah, well, that's something we can talk on a different call, right? There are still a couple of things that we need to learn.
Okay, no problem. Maybe we can focus on that. Maybe after maybe 2-3 weeks, we can stick it down later.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something I didn't really get clearly. I think it was in user controller. There's a function that I don't know if it's like a lambda function where you were mapping something. I don't know. I didn't really get it clearly. So it has to do with X to the user ID, and then you're trying to map it. You're trying the user controller.
This guy.
No. Yes. Okay, yes. So this the user has to do a weight then. Yes, the exact the one in the from the first or the fourth async method. So I don't really get what happened there, please. Okay, use this in both the editor sync and the one that has to return the user, and then the other one here.
All right, so some of these methods, they accept predicates. So you see this first or default, come in. Or let me just use this context. That's user data dots. You see this add a thing, add range, this, all of this stuff, right? Some of them accept predicates. So what that means is you could pass an argument into it and then use that argument to, or not use that. The method will use the arguments to perform whatever has been specified for it to perform using that argument. So now if I try to go into the definition for the implementation for first or default, let's see if they will allow me. Let me go into the definition. All right, so it says expression, funct, source, bool, predicates. So it accepts quite a number of things, but the one I used is the predicate where I'm saying that if the ID in the database, right? So this X is like a variable, right? A variable that says that holds user data, right? So if you're going into user data table, each row is a user data. Each row is like a user data, right? So X is like holding everything inside of this user data, right? Now I'm saying that if X dot this ID now, right? If it goes to the first one, if the ID is equal to the ID that is passed from the query, right? Then use that particular column and save it here. That is what this predicate is doing, right? So I could do the same thing like if I was trying to get a first name, right? I could say, let me say string first name, right? I could say if X dot first name is equal to first name that is passed from this. So if I'm trying to get the first, let's say first name is unique now. If I'm trying to get a user with their first name, I could now say X dot first name is equal to the first name. Now, first or default means if you're going through the table, the first, what's the word? The first column that you get that passes this command or this condition, return it, right? Now the default means that if you go through everything and then there's no one that matches, then pass the default. Our default could be a string of, let's say, empty. Coming, maybe that's not out. That's it. For the cancellation token, let's say default user data cancellation token. Okay. Yeah, so there's a way to pass the default. Let me see if I can figure it out quickly.
What if you pass in like no? I don't know if we did like accept like no.
Passing null where?
Can you like use like no for default? Is it possible?
No. If it doesn't find it, it's going to return null, right? But the default, this default
okay.
is saying that what if I don't want to return null? I want to return a default value, right? There's a way to pass it. I haven't used it before, but I saw it recently.
Okay.
And I saw it recently, but I didn't use it, so I can't remember. but that's what first or default means. I could just say first async. But you use first async when you are sure that it's in the database, right? But if you're not sure it's in the database, just use first or default. So I'm just going to return this to ID and this to ID. And return this, remove this. But that's just what happens, right? It's just comparing, this X is like a variable and then saying that I'm using that variable dot whatever property I want to use, and I want to compare it to the ID that it's being sent, right? And then if it matches, return it to this user. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I think I get it better now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Yeah, my own question is, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I said the validations for, apart from like required, where we have to pass it if it is not like normally we are going to do something on the front end now where when you put your required as part of your tags, but now you are doing it here. So that means if you are going to write the UI for this project, let's say you are building your project in .NET now and you want to write the front end in React, it is still advisable that you put required for in your front end, right?
Yes, it's always advisable to use front end validation, right? Because you don't want your backend to be doing a lot of work, right? But the reason why you do backend validation is for people who who know their way around the front end and they can bypass the front end validation. Yeah, then you have to do that validation. It's always advisable to do validation in the front end because if you have your backend doing a lot of validation, like every time you have 1 million users, every time those 1 million users are trying to do something, your backend is validating, and it causes a lot of issues. But if you stop them from getting to the backend, except you send the right data, then it helps.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I get now. Because I'm kind of skeptical about, do you do it on just the front end or both?
No,
Some people will say security-wise or something.
Do it on both.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? So do we understand the assignments, the task for this week? Do we understand the task?
Work on the delete button, sir.
Yeah, work on the delete, not just the delete, but the functionality, so that once you delete, it deletes from the database.
Okay, sir. We'll work on it, sir.
All right, great. So on our next class, we're going to be working on identity, that's authentication, authorization and authentication, right? For the database first approach, it's not really difficult. We can do it sometime, but for now, I just want us to try and complete stuff, right? Because we're already in September, and I want us to be done by October. Is that fine?
Yes, it's
Yes,
fine.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it's fine.
We're going to work on the assignments. Then the source code and the video, can we get them tomorrow?
Yeah. You'll get them tomorrow. I'm going to bed like almost immediately right now. So tomorrow I'll work on it.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Yeah, good night, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
good night.
Thank you, sir.